Hi, this is JJ with Electro-Harmonics and you're watching Tremolo and Vibrato. This is part of a series of videos of education on modulation. So perhaps you're a beginner looking to get familiar with the different types of guitar effects available. Maybe you're more of an experienced player who's just looking for some tonal inspiration, or maybe you're just looking to find out which products we have in this particular category of guitar effects. Enjoy! In this video I played my American Stratocaster into my Fender Blues Junior, a nice 15-watt all-tube amplifier with a 12-inch speaker, and I mic'd it with an Electro-Harmonics EHX condenser microphone. For the stereo examples, I also employed my Blackstar HD1R, a nice 1-watt tube amp, and mic'd that with a Shure SM57. So what is tremolo and what's vibrato? Tremolo and vibrato are some of the oldest guitar effects available. In fact, they were built into many tube amplifiers from the 1950s and 1960s. Tremolo indicates a change in volume and vibrato indicates a change in pitch. But there's a lot of confusion around these words because Fender labeled the tremolo circuits in their amplifiers vibrato and called the whammy bar on their Stratocaster design a synchronized tremolo unit. It's not entirely fair to blame Fender for all of this confusion because some very old tremolo circuits in amps from the 50s also had a slight pitch modulation going on, so that's probably the reason why some players still like to call the effect vibrato. In the 1960s, also a very early guitar effects unit was the Uni-Vox Uni-Vibe, as used by Jimi Hendrix. That had a chorus and a vibrato setting. On the chorus setting it sounds, well, to my ears it sounds more like a phaser. It's kind of like a primitive phase effect, I think. But on a vibrato setting that has a real pitch modulation going on, so like a really intense wobbling effect. So how can you use tremolo and vibrato? On a clean guitar, it always makes me think of spy movie soundtracks, surf music, spaghetti western, and it sounds great combined with some reverb. On distorted sounds, immediately I always have to think of How Soon Is Now by the Smiths, Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Green Day, and also 1990s REM from the Monster album. Peter Buck used a lot of tremolo on that too. So it's a very versatile effect, and I think it's been overlooked by a lot of players. I think it was really fashionable in the 50s and 60s, and then it went out of style, and in the 1990s, thanks to artists like Peter Buck, but also many indie guitar players, it came back into fashion. So how do you operate a tremolo or a vibrato unit? Most units have two basic controls, intensity or depth, which controls how dramatic or how subtle the effect is. On our worm pedal, that's called the range control, because that also has a couple of other effects, so it makes more sense if it's called range. And you also have a speed or a rate knob, which sets how fast or how slow the effect goes. Pretty self-explanatory. Well, it's not very hard to set a tremolo effect up or to set a vibrato effect, except for when you really want it to be in sync to your playing. Then it's nice to have tap tempo. Of course, there are more controls on tremolos usually, and usually you see some kind of waveform control or shape, and that can be a switch or a dial. If you want some subtle tremolo, you might want to opt for a sine wave or a triangle wave. If you want more choppiness, then you should go for a square wave tremolo. I always like it when tremolo units have a volume knob, because the perceived psychological volume of the sound when you engage one is usually lower than it really is. It's nice to be able to compensate for that. And with the wiggler pedal that we offer, that volume knob has quite a lot of headroom, so you can even push your front end of the amp a little bit. You can create more complex rhythmic patterns using two tremolo pedals. I'm using the wiggler and the stereo pulsar simultaneously. I'm running into a clean amplifier. Here's that clean sound. I've set up the wiggler for kind of a slow, subtle tremolo. Very nice and warm. And I'm using the stereo pulsar in square wave mode to chop things up. Check it out. So that's it for this video on tremolo and vibrato. I hope you liked it. If you're interested in any of the pedals used in this video, make sure you also watch the individual cuts for them to find out more. Now, I just wanted to leave you with the comment that tremolo is my favorite modulation effect, because it doesn't really alter your tone, but it can still add some shimmer or movement to your guitar sound, whether that's clean or distorted, subtle or dramatic, classic or more adventurous. Please go to ehx.com for more information. Signing off, JJ out.